What if I told you that a single story could change your life? Stories are not just words, they are bridges between hearts and souls. In Islam, storytelling is not just an art, it is a divine method of guidance. The Quran itself is filled with the most powerful narratives that awaken the soul, transform lives, and guide humanity. But today, we have forgotten this power. The world is drowning in division. Hatred spreads faster than truth. But what if we could change that? What if the stories we share could bring people back to the truth? Look around, society is disconnected, hearts are hardened, people judge before they seek to understand. Social media, instead of connecting us, has turned into a battlefield where egos clash, where opinions become weapons, and where the truth is drowned in noise. Even within families, we see distance. Parents struggling to communicate with their children, friends growing apart over ideological differences, and Muslims divided over culture, nationality, and status. The Ummah, one united force, is now fractured by division. But this is not new. Even in the time of the Prophet Muhammad, there were deep divisions between tribes, between the rich and the poor, between oppressors and the oppressed. And yet, Islam spread, not through force, but through something far more powerful: stories. The story of Bilal radiallahu anhu shattered the chains of racism. The story of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu transformed a fierce enemy into one of Islam's greatest leaders. The story of Yusuf alayhi salam in the Quran teaches us patience, betrayal, and ultimate victory. But what made these stories so powerful? They opened hearts, they awakened the fitra, the natural inclination toward truth and goodness that Allah has placed within every soul. Allah says in the Quran, so relate the stories that they may reflect. Surah Al-A'raf 71-76. Allah commands us to share stories because stories move hearts in ways that logic and arguments cannot. The Quran doesn't just give rules, it gives parables, lessons, and real-life experiences. Imagine if we started sharing our own stories, not for likes, not for validation, but for the sake of Allah. Imagine if a revert shared how they found Islam after years of searching. Imagine if a Muslim struggling with hardship spoke of how faith saved them. Imagine if a traveler described the moment they witnessed the beauty of Muslim brotherhood in a foreign land. One story, one heart, one soul brought closer to Allah. That is how change begins. Let me tell you about a man, a famous social media influencer. He had everything the dunya could offer: millions of followers, brand deals, luxury cars, a high-rise apartment in Dubai. But deep inside, he was empty. He chased money, fame, and status, believing it would bring him happiness. Every time he hit a new milestone, 100,000 followers, 1 million followers, a six-figure brand deal, he felt the rush of success. But it faded quickly. Soon, he found himself living for the algorithm. His days were spent curating a perfect life online while feeling completely disconnected offline. Fake smiles, forced happiness, anxiety over losing relevance. Then, his life shattered. The people he called friends disappeared when his engagement dropped. The brands that once chased him moved on to younger influencers. His wealth started to slip through his fingers, and at his lowest he found himself alone, questioning everything. Until he heard a story. Not a lecture, not a debate, not an argument. A simple story from a Muslim brother who had once lived the same life, chasing dunya only to find true peace in Islam. That story hit him like a lightning bolt. It made him reflect. It made him search. It made him fall in sujood for the first time in his life. And that was the beginning of his true success. Subhanallah, a single story turned his life around. Your story could be that guiding light for someone else. The world doesn't need more arguments, it needs hearts that connect. It needs stories that inspire. The Prophet changed the world, not just by preaching, but by telling stories that made people reflect. The Quran continues to soften hearts through its powerful narratives. So what's stopping you from sharing your story? If your words could change one life, would you hold them back? Share your story in the comments. It could be a moment of guidance, a lesson, or a personal experience that strengthened your faith. And if you want to learn the true art of storytelling in Islam, watch the next video. Because stories are not just words, they are dawah. They are a path to Jannah.